are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leakfilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leakfilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leakfilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leakfilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
It's back. Football is back, Broncos country, which means summer is almost over. And that means it's time for game days. Whether you're heading to Empower Field or traveling to Boulder to cheer on Coach Prime and the Buffs, you got to get there in style and on time. So let my friends at Hermes Worldwide handle the traffic and parking, and you handle the rest, which means have as much fun as possible and make as many memories as you can. So let Hermes Worldwide get you to and from the game safe. All you need to do is call Hermes Worldwide at 303-577-7600 or visit ridehermes.com/DenverSports to book your next ride today.
Another summer is ended, and you may have noticed that your energy is lower, your workouts aren't as productive, perhaps you aren't sleeping as well and feel foggy all the time, maybe even your sex drive is off. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you're experiencing some or all of these symptoms, it's likely you have low testosterone. And if that's what's going on with you, don't wait. You need to call us at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic and get treated for your low T, because living with low testosterone is no way to live. With our low T treatments, if you're like most guys, your life will change considerably. Improved sleep, better energy, greater gains in the gym, better mental clarity, and your sex drive will likely improve as well. Plus, most men see these results in just a few weeks. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes PSA and T-test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you.
The cost of everything is still out of control, and many of us are relying on credit cards to cover essentials. If that debt is piling up, you're not alone. Americans collectively owe over $1 trillion in credit card debt. You might have considered reaching out to my friends at American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. Well, there's good news. They've created a smart equity loan, a solution designed to help you take control of your finances without touching your current mortgage. Unlike a HELOC, which can have varied interest rates, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate. That means one predictable monthly payment, giving you peace of mind. This loan allows you to leverage the equity in your home to pay off high interest debt, free up your cash flow, and keep your existing low mortgage rate intact. It only takes 10 minutes to get started with no upfront or hidden fees. Call American Financing today and start saving now at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Whether it's kickoff, halftime, or the final drive, fuel your football season at Dickey's Barbecue Pits. Order the 2 Can Dine for $29.99 deal. 2 meat plates stacked with pit smoke flavor. Or go for the new Triple Play Combo. A classic sandwich, savory side, and a big yellow cup for just $12.99. No matter who you're rooting for, great barbecue is always a win. Dickey's Barbecue Pit, legit. Texas barbecue.
Are joint pain or injuries keeping you from living your best life? I'm Dr. Joel Cherdak with Denver Regenerative Medicine. We don't believe in one size fits all. Instead, we create personalized stem cell treatment plans using your own stem cells or donor cells to help regenerate joints, repair torn muscles and ligaments, and restore mobility. For a limited time, get 10% off through October. Don't wait. Book your free consultation now at denverregen.com. That's denverregen.com.
If you have a tax problem, fear and sleepless nights are common. This is Todd Whalen, founder of Advanced Tax Solutions. We've been fixing tax problems for a long time. Many of our competitors not only have you meet with a salesperson, but that person gets a commission based on what they sell you. At Advanced Tax Solutions, our licensed professionals never get a commission for selling you anything. We've seen a lot of resolution companies come and go, but we're still here. Check us out at advancedtaxsolutions.com.
International Hot Rod Association and Durana Hybrid, where the roar of the engine meets the torque of the wrench. Building champions on the track and in the trades. Get your tickets at IHRA.com.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more, DenverSports.com.
John Davis hanging out tonight with just Dante Gomez. That's the last time we'll run the joke. I didn't realize.
Well, I mean, it is just us, I guess.
It is. It's just, yeah, that was, it came
There
off
was a different connotation when you said it the first time, though.
It was, okay, is that where you're going with that? All right, that's all good. Dante behind the glass, getting after it tonight. Big game, Avalanche, puck dropping, I think a little after 7 tonight. We'll have Will Peterson, who's down at Ball Arena. We'll have him at 6:30. But the Denver Broncos going to London this week. And Dante, the Broncos in London's been very interesting. They played there, I think, twice, and since 2010. They were supposed to the COVID year against Atlanta, but obviously that didn't happen. So when they played against the 49ers back in 2010, that was the game that ultimately we found out later on the Broncos had been filming the 49ers practice. And that didn't come out till about 6 weeks later, but it's kind of what really did Josh McDaniels in. In addition, when we went to London in 2010, the Broncos had lost to the Raiders the previous week, 59-14 at home. So it was just when the Josh McDaniels era was bad. They go to San Francisco. They're playing Mike Singletary and the Niners, who are an equally embarrassing team. It comes out later the Broncos had filmed the 49ers practice, and here's the best part about it, Dante. They lost. The Broncos lost the game. They were filming.
I have not heard this story. So Josh McDaniels got in trouble for filming another team?
Yeah, the Broncos did. And it was
But
Josh.
McDaniels was the coach here at the time?
Yes, and we know where he came from.
Interesting. I had never heard about that.
So it came out so later. So what had happened was the Broncos lost 59-14 to the Raiders at home. You know when a team lays down on a coach and you're watching it, lose to the Raiders 59-14, that team was done with Josh. That was pretty early in the year. They go to London. Brandon Lloyd goes off. Zach was talking about this the other day. But they lose, and then I can't remember if they had their bye week, but they only won 4 games that year. The Chiefs won the division, but the Chiefs come into Denver, and the Broncos beat them like 42-17. Like, it was crazy. But after the game, Todd Haley, the coach of the Chiefs at the time, at the handshake, points to Josh and says something along the lines of, "We know what you're doing." And everybody was like, what? Like, what is this? And then it comes out maybe a week or two later that I think the Broncos had turned themselves into the league. Josh McDaniels, which might mean they knew somebody got hip to it. Josh said they destroyed the tape. But yeah, so they went to London, filmed the other team's practice, lost. And then a few years ago, Dante, were you here a few years ago when they played the Jaguars in London?
Yes, that was the Hackett, Russell Wilson, high knees on the plane.
That was the other thing.
That year 2 here.
Yeah, and so that was the other thing is the Broncos were reeling. The Hackett hire was a disaster. The Russell Wilson trade was a disaster. And then Russell Wilson's team leaks that while everybody else is sleeping on the plane, Russ, who had been injured, is doing high knees or wind sprints or something crazy. That guy's team never stops. So the point is, as far as London games, this is the best momentum the Broncos have had going into these overseas. Normally we're like, oh, I feel bad for the people over there. They got to watch this team play. But that's not the case this year. The Broncos are going over there coming off what I would say is honestly, maybe prisoner of the moment, maybe hyperbolic, their biggest win since Super Bowl 50. Where do you rate the win as far as at least, say, the past 5 years?
I would put it at number 1. I think you defeat the defending Super Bowl, and there were stakes to it as well. It wasn't just like a meaningless game. The Broncos needed that. They dropped 2 games that they probably could have and should have won there. So, to me, I have it at number 1 since I've been in Denver the last 5 years. It's number 1.
Yeah, I think so. On the road, short week, East Coast trip, like you said, defending Super Bowl champs and a comeback win. Nothing feels better than when you come back and you beat a team. And Zach talked about it earlier this week, and I noticed it as well. The deafening silence of that Philly crowd when that 2-point conversion went in. That was a real, like, oh, these guys aren't messing around type moment. So they're 3-2, 2-game winning streak, biggest win. Most people agree if it's not the biggest win of the past 10 years, it's in the top 2 or 3. playing the 0-5 Jets. The Jets have never been 0-5 in their existence, which is crazy.
That's actually very surprising for how bad of a franchise they are.
Yeah, that this is never. You know it's bad when you're doing all-time bad things with the New York Jets, but they are. I feel bad for Aaron Glenn. He seems like a super likable guy. So the word trap game gets thrown around. Meet me in the trap, young Jeezy. The trap game's getting thrown around. I don't know if Sean Payton does a trap game in his head. I don't know if he overlooks teams. Dante, I mean, I could see why people would say that, but the London thing I think adds another element. But when you hear this could be a trap game for the Denver Broncos, where do you land on that?
I initially think you're overlooking the opponent. Even if you say it's not a trap game, the fact that you're saying the words trap game means you're overlooking them. You don't say those. You don't say the words trap game about when you're facing the Chargers or when you're facing the Eagles the last couple weeks there. So the fact that it's even in the back of your mind means it's in your mind at all. So I already think they're overlooking the Jets.
But okay, that's interesting because I would almost think maybe you catch yourself overlooking them and you're like, wait, we can't do this. So I see your point because it's like when your buddy goes through a breakup and he's like, I'm happy I'm single. It's like, why are you saying that?
Yeah, like you don't feel the need to say you're happy all the time unless it's questionable if you are happy.
Exactly. So that's interesting. The fact that they're almost acknowledging it to like a defensive, like they're almost being defensive over, we're not overlooking them. That does say something. So that would be a concern for you as far as the Broncos heading into this game.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I think the Jets are going to put up a fighting chance here. I don't think the Jets are a dead football team yet. They've had a lot of effort in a lot of these games. Could have won one or two of them. Week 1 against the Steelers, then the Bucs game. The Bucs had to come back and win it in the final minutes there. So I think the Jets are still a very alive team. They have a lot to play for. Aaron Glenn's still, a rookie head coach. He's trying to set a certain culture there that, hey, we don't give up. We're going to keep trying. Justin Fields is still playing for his career at this point, trying to prove that he can be the Jets franchise quarterback at that big contract. So I don't think this is a walk in the park by any means.
I don't either. Teams play with a lot of pride. And when a team is this thoroughly kind of embarrassed, a lot of times you do see a bounce back. I talked about that 2010 Broncos team a few minutes ago. That's a team that beat the division winner, the Chiefs, 42-17 or whatever it was at home when they were downright bad. They beat the division winner because there is a pride. Teams dig deep. Also, they have a lot of talent on parts of their team. They're not like I talked about it with Zach and Phil. They're not like the Titans, which their talent is all kind of over the hill guys. You have Breece Hall, you have Garrett Wilson, and Justin Fields can run at 80 yards on any play on you, and that's kind of where this concerns me, is that they've got some big play capability, and all it takes is the Broncos stumbling out the gate a little bit, giving the Jets a little bit of confidence to where this can be a close game going into the second half, going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you got to take them out in the first half, you got to go 20-0, something like that, to the point where they have no hope on the other sideline. If it's a one-score game going into half, I imagine it'll still be, a 10-point win or something like that for the Broncos, which 10-point win in the NFL is great.
Oh,
but I don't think a lot of Broncos country is expecting. I think they're expecting the 20-point win in this game.
Yeah, given how they thoroughly dominated Cincinnati the other night, that 20-point win, I think that's a really good point. The London games are weird. They're just weird. You're playing in a different country. You've been there for a week. I think if you get out of this with a win, I don't care if it's 13-10, 10-6, 28-31, you walk out of there with a win, you take it, because you've got to come back and you're not getting the bye week. So however you get the win is going to matter. And this is a team that I think the Jets have only, of their 0-5, you point out they were close against the Steelers. They were close against Miami.
Yep.
Was it the Bucs?
The Bucs.
The Bucs was
one
the other
where the Bucs had to come back and win. I don't know. They had the blocked field goal. Aaron Glenn's doing the dance on the sideline.
Yeah. So they've been competitive. There you go. That's a team with the Bucs. They've been competitive with a team that love the Broncos. I think everybody would agree right now the Buccaneers are above the Denver Broncos in the pecking order. So this could be a trap game. But if there's one thing the Broncos have done well the last few years, it's they've beat up on the bad teams. When they play the bad teams, they go out there and they really, really put a beating on them. Even if it took a while for the Titans game to get there, the Broncos ultimately kind of took it to the Tennessee Titans that game. I don't think it's a trap game in the sense that I know the Broncos are high on themselves right now. I know they had that big win. The emotional letdown is definitely, you wonder if that's creeping right there, if that's in the back of their heads, because you do see that with teams a lot. I honestly don't think, how do I say this? I don't think they've earned the right to have a trap game.
I would agree with that. I don't think they've shown, you lost to the Colts, you lost to the Chargers in heartbreaking fashion. The Jets better have your full attention. It's not like you can't afford to lose this one and go to 3-3 at this point.
Right, and you've got position players. They got a guy in Sauce Gardner that's going to make it really hard on Cortland Sutton, who's the only, as far as receiving threat that you've had this year, that's really, really kind of been able to do things. And Cortland, by the way, has played awesome this year as far as, yards after catch, catches in crucial spots. So that there, I like your point. I kind of like where you're headed, where they're saying if you're saying trap game, then it's there. But I think they understand the narrative. The Broncos PR is very savvy. Sean Payton he's very media savvy. He loves knowing what's going on with the media. So they go out there, they've got a good run game with the Jets. And that's where this can get tricky. But the Broncos, I think, are getting Malcolm Roach back. DJ Jones was on the injury report, so you hope that that's okay. But really where they go, Phil brought this up to me. This is kind of something where my head's at, is they've played Justin Fields the last 2 years. And in Chicago and in Pittsburgh. They were losing, I think, 28-7 to Justin Fields in Chicago. He was playing outstanding in that game. And then late third, early fourth quarter, Nick Bonito, I think, blew up a pass play, and the Broncos got a defensive touchdown on there. I can't remember if Bonito blew up the play and somebody else scored, or somebody else blew up the play and Bonito scored. I can't remember how that went. But then they got, I think, a late interception on Justin Fields as well. Fast forward to that Pittsburgh game last year, the defense really kind of shut him down. Justin Fields had such a great pass down the sideline that was called back last year. But really last year's loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers was predicated on Bo being in his second game. He threw to Greg Dulcich like 5 times, and Dulcich dropped every single one of them. And so that game, they've really kind of been able to contain Justin Fields. So last week, I think it was necessary to change up what you do to force Jalen Hurts to beat you. This week, I understand that Justin Fields can get out there. I understand how dangerous he can be. This is where I stick with what I do on defense. This is where I don't overthink it.
In terms of stick with what you do regularly, or stick with what they did last week?
Regularly.
Okay. You don't think it's the same game plan?
This week as opposed to last week?
No, this week and last week. You don't think it's a pretty similar game plan in terms of Hurts and Fields and then Saquon and Breece Hall?
I think that's interesting. I think Hurts is better than Fields about, getting the ball out in that screen game, kind of taking advantage of certain things. I have a lot more faith in Jalen Hurts to kind of pick you apart there. And as good as Garrett Wilson is, the Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown thing, this is the first week in a while that they're not playing 2 number 1 wide receivers. Like they had T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and then they had Devonta Smith, and they had A.J. Brown. I could see that. I could see them wanting to drop it back and force Justin Fields to kind of beat you with his arm. The concern with that, as good as Jalen Hurts is running the ball, the more time you're not in his face, the more time you give him space to kind of just take off and run. Because when Justin Fields can take off and run, if you got everybody running routes, you're going to open up the middle of the field. You're going to open up the sidelines for him to kind of do that sprint to the first down. What I do is I just try to overwhelm the kid. I try to make it hard on him. You talked about coming out, really, really hot for the Broncos. A fast start is important. If I'm the Denver Broncos this week, what I do is I just try to overwhelm him early. I try to collapse the pocket, not get too deep in the blitz, but try to get there, keep him contained there, coming up the middle, coming from the sides, because their offensive line's not great, as well as they do run the ball. They're not great with that. And then you've got to trust the secondary to just kind of hold for that little bit. I'm not Justin Fields. Justin Fields is dangerous with his legs. I understand that. But a guy like Justin Fields right now, you want to force into mistakes. And the only way you force him into mistakes is just by making it very hard on him, being in his face all the time. You would go more Jalen Hurts, more let's back everybody off and let's stack the box and let the secondary but hold off on the blitz. Like, how do you attack this?
Yeah, so I would this might be controversial. I would do kind of the opposite of what you're saying here. I would drop in a zone, wait for Justin Fields to make the mistake. If you're in zone, it's very difficult for a quarterback to run the ball because there's a lot of defenders with their eyes looking at the quarterback, opposed to when you're in man coverage or when you're blitzing. To me, that's when you can run into issues where you let Fields go for a 40-yard run or that 80-yard run you're talking about. I would kind of just sit back and frustrate him the other way, like the Vic Fangio way almost, where it's like, hey, we're going to give you 3 yards here, 4 yards here, but we're not going to we're not going to give up the big play, and we don't think you're capable of putting enough of those small plays together to beat us.
The Vic Fangio approach is interesting. And I only bring that up because the Vic Fangio approach got us beat by Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett.
But those guys are very accurate quarterbacks that can throw the ball those short distance. I think Fields doesn't fit into that.
Right. So that's interesting. You play in zone. I think he can – I think the more you let him dance around untouched, the more he's going to find ways to outrun. And even if he's running 5-6 yards at a time, that's 5-6 yards that they're kind of going there. So it's an interesting matchup with Fields. I mean, it really is. And the Jets, outside of last week, they're scoring more than 24 in almost every game, aren't they? I mean, they're really it's not like they haven't done things well. It just felt like last week against the Cowboys, they had a fumble in that game that just demoralized them beyond anything. But they've got to pick things up. They've got those questions. So Justin Fields with Breece Hall, that's kind of what makes it interesting, is you've got real two dynamic runners. It's almost, you brought up Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. To me, it's almost more like Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry with kind of the danger in the run game, because you've got a quarterback who might be a top 10, like his ability to run. He's 30th in the league and how they do that. So trap game. So that's the defensive side of the ball. And recently, Vance Joseph, he's played Justin Fields the last years. 1 year he beat him and Justin Fields had success in that game. The next year we didn't beat him and Justin Fields didn't have a lot of success in that game. So it's a little interesting. So that's actually what's kind of nice, is Vance has been game planning for this kid the past couple years. What Vance comes up with, I really think it's certain points as far as how you attack Justin Fields. I am a believer in, what do your best players do well? Your best players are Zach Allen, Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper. I think at some point you just let them do their thing, and you've got to let that happen. And hope they don't beat you on the screen, but you can't adjust. I don't want to handcuff the elite. The Broncos pass rush is elite. I think it's the most elite in the NFL. I know there's some other good ones. I just don't want to take away what they really do well. So we're going to flip to the offensive side of the ball, Dante, as the Broncos go into this. The recency bias has everybody very excited about the Broncos offense because of how it ended last week. You kind of forget the bias of what happened earlier in the game, and Zach did a good job pointing it out today, him and Phil, in their discussion, that it was a little tough early on, but this is a defense that gives up a lot of points, so the Broncos should be able to get in there. They should be able to score. We saw Evan Ingram kind of start to come alive last week. J.K. Dobbins is still running well. I think R.J. Harvey we're starting to see a lot more out of. From the Broncos offense, did you see something they can build on last week, or did it all start clicking? How did you take the end of that game?
Basically, I just take it as the offense goes as far as Bo Nix takes them. I think J.K. Dobbins is a very much stable runner. You know what you're going to get out of him. He could give you, depending on how many carries he's getting, but I feel like he's kind of a known at this point. To me, you see this offense really click when Bo Nix is completing a high percentage of his passes, when the number 2 option, wide receiver-wise or tight end, if it's Evan Ingram or Troy Franklin or Marvin Mims, when they're able to, take advantage of their defenders. To me, that's the biggest thing. It's Bo Nix completing a high amount of his passes, and then the number 2 wide receiver stepping up.
Yeah, I like all of that. What I want to see, and what I think started working for them last week in the fourth quarter, is, look, Sean's drawing up great plays. We've seen the overthrows from Bo. That has to get better. You can't just keep overthrowing everybody. I do think that does get better, because that becomes Bo with more reps will settle down. The game will slow down for him in due time. I do also believe this. While you have to take those shots if they're there, if you drop a play that's a touchdown, you should run that play. It'd be silly not to. At the same time, I think it's more realistic to go out there and drop more what they did in the fourth quarter. 7-8 yards. 7-8 yards. That's how you demoralize a defense. I think when you beat a team deep, I've always said this, the team can go, the guy got behind us. Like Riley Moss getting beat on 3rd and 17. That sucked, but it's he got behind you. They're not going to throw it 60 yards every play. you keep a defense on the field, you frustrate a defense when you keep moving the ball. That's what the Colts did to the Broncos. That's what the Chargers did to the Broncos. And ultimately you see Hufanga get frustrated, throw a guy to the ground. Where the Broncos had success last week was when they started doing a little more intermediate, but not to the flats. Those intermediate throws, which has been missing the last few years, probably because of a lack of a tight end. That's how I tried it. That's what I want to see them build on. I think that's a much more sustainable way to beat teams, is to come out and build on those intermediates. With that, Bo gets a little more confidence. Might be in a little more rhythm to hit that deep ball. So that's how I want to see them go out this week. I do like what you say. They will only go as far as Bo takes them. There was that exercise earlier, like, where is Bo? Would you trade him for this, and this? Ultimately, I've seen enough out of Bo to watch him keep going. Where do you need to see Bo? Well, first, let me ask you this, and I've heard you, but for the listeners, where do you land on Bo in his trajectory to be a franchise quarterback, and what do you need to see out of him, if anything?
I think he's on his way to being that franchise quarterback. I wouldn't quite have that title for him yet. Right. And what I need to see is a playoff win. I need to see him go out there and win a playoff game. Whether it's this year or next year, you need to make a statement and say, hey, it's cute that we made the playoffs, but we're a problem once we get in there.
I don't think Peyton Manning and Josh Allen won playoff games their second year. It took them.
Well, I said this year or next year.
This year, next year. So within his first 3 years,
yes,
he needs to win a playoff game.
Correct.
And be kind of a driving force behind that. Like, it can't be, we're running the ball so well that we're just handing off. I think, you have to see Bo. And you don't win a playoff game without the quarterback.
Yeah, I think it's somewhat implied that he's going to be somewhat of the driving force. Because if you're winning a playoff game, that means you're playing another playoff team, and bad teams typically don't make the playoffs. So to me, that would be the sign I need to see.
Yeah, I think that's a great barometer, because that's ultimately what matters. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are great, but that lack of getting to the Super Bowl, they're beyond the playoff wins now. They need to get to the next thing. But postseason success is important. As great as Dan Marino was, Dante, you probably didn't see much of Dan Marino, but people that did, if I ask them the signature Dan Marino moment, I don't get one, because there really isn't one. It's a fake.
He threw the ball so fast, you can't even see the moment.
If you just showed people film of quarterbacks and didn't give accolades and say which one's the best, everybody would pick Dan Marino. He was incredible.
I never saw him play, but I grew up in a Miami household, so I was aware of Dan Marino and his quick release, but that's about all.
Dude, he was unbelievable. But with that, as far as the Bo franchise quarterback, I can't say he's a franchise quarterback yet. Just like I can't say that about Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams. I can't say that about it. You could say I feel pretty good about this guy. My deal with Bo is I'm willing to keep finding out. I've seen enough out of him, so I want to keep finding out. If you look at Tim Tebow, the Tebow offense specifically, once they switched to that, if you look at Brock Osweiler, Trevor Siemian, and Drew Lock, once each of those guys had played 7 full games and teams had 7 full games to watch, they never really got back on track in their career with the Broncos, any of it. Once that film was out and they were figured out and teams adjusted, those guys never really made an adjustment. What I like that I've seen out of Bo Nix is now multiple times, just when it looks like, is he done? He has a game. He has even a quarter where we see him bounce back, where we see some resiliency out of him that keeps it going for Bo. We've seen him adapt to the game film and what defenses do now, I think 23 games or however many it is now into his career. So while not a franchise quarterback, I've seen those things that a franchise quarterback needs to ultimately keep going and get where they need to be.
Yeah, it's a lot like being like a big league pitcher. I'm going to relate to baseball here, but it's not that you just have the 100-mile-per-hour fastball. It's you got to have 3-4 pitches deep. That's how you're successful, and that's why Tim Tebow ran into issues. That's why Trevor Siemian ran into issues. But Bo Nix, I believe, does have that full repertoire of pitches in his bag. He can beat you with his legs. He can beat you with the. Hopefully the deep pass comes along, but he's got accuracy to him at moments too in the short game. So I think he has multiple ways of beating other teams, and that's a very important factor to be in terms of going on that trajectory of being that franchise quarterback.
Yeah, that pitcher analogy is pretty good because certain pitchers do certain things really well, and it's having enough of all of it there. And you talk about like the deep ball, and is he going to get there with the deep ball? And I think he can. That's about the game slowing down. And I imagine that's something with pitching too. And probably everything with baseball is the game slowing down for you. It's not being intimidated. It's saying I've been here before. That's what's been the most troubling with Bo, I think so far this year has been that. But ultimately, I've seen enough to be willing to keep finding out about Bo Nix. But it's an exciting time here in Colorado. The Rockies aren't playing in the postseason, Dante, but the Avalanche started the Nuggets in a few weeks, and the Avalanche are dropping the puck. The home opener tonight at Ball Arena. Our guy, Scrappy Will Peterson, will join us from Ball Arena to talk Avalanche. We'll do that next.
Did the Broncos unlock a new weapon during their win over the Eagles?
The best thing we learned from this game against the Eagles is they can beat anybody. The second best thing may be they figured out Evan Ingram. This is just the beginning of Evan Ingram taking over and being the Joker that we all thought he could be.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Catch a ride with EV and Auto. Catch a ride.
Oh no, it's the attack of Zombie Otto.
Deals. Otto wants deals.
Well, good thing Foundation Chevrolet has the best deals during Truck Month. Like the all-new 2026 heavy-duty Chevy Silverado. Ready to haul tons of candy this Halloween season.
Otto loves deals.
Treat yourself to a tricked-out truck from Foundation Chevy. And together, let's drive.
Visit FoundationChevrolet.com and catch a ride.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
At 303 Law 4040, we know getting into an accident stinks, and so does getting worked over by the insurance company or even your slick-talking made-for-TV lawyer. So if we can help, just give us a call. 303 Law 4040. Save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. That's 303 Law 4040.
The right financial strategies can make a huge difference, especially if you're nearing retirement. Adam Muller talks retirement strategies with Mile High Money. Saturday mornings at 8 on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, National Western Complex. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, National Western Complex. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. National Western Complex. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. National Western Complex. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. National Western Complex. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. National Western Complex. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. National Western Complex. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
The Fed has finally dropped interest rates, and that's great news for American homeowners. Wages are flat, prices keep climbing, and for many, the only way to make ends meet is to lean on credit cards. If you're a homeowner, I want you to call my friends at American Financing. Right now, interest rates have dropped. Many homeowners are seeing options in the low 5s. Compare that to credit cards charging rates in the 20s or higher. American Financing can help you pay off that expensive debt, free up your cash flow, and keep your budget under control. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving customers an average of $800 a month. And if you get started today, you may be able to delay your next mortgage payment. Call American Financing today at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. APR for rates in the 5s start at 6.327% for well-qualified buyers. Call 303-695-7000 for details about credit costs and terms.
Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown. I think I'm some kind of football prophet.
Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Football is here, and Fitness Gallery's fall football sale is your playbook for a winning home gym. Save up to 50% off on select premium equipment. Visit any of our 7 stores from Denver to Fort Collins and score big before the sale ends.
Stokely here from my friends at 5280 Waste Solutions of Denver. Unhappy with your home or business trash and recycling service? Need a temporary dumpster for a project? Call 5280 Waste Solutions at 303-529-2329. Colorado isn't just where they work, it's home. They guarantee swift, on-time pickup for residential and commercial customers. Make the switch and get reliable local service you can count on. Go to 5280waste.com. 5280 Waste Solutions, your hometown brand.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
The Colorado Avalanche home opener tonight at Ball Arena. We now go out to Ball Arena to our guy, Scrappy Will Peterson. Will, how are you tonight, buddy?
I'm great, John. How are you?
I'm doing good. Excited to play the Utah Mammoth. I think the Colorado Mammoth should change their name to the Colorado Jazz just to get back at Utah for stealing one of our mascot names.
Not only did they kind of steal the name of the lacrosse team, but they're using Tusk Up as kind of their official hashtag, if you will. And that's what the Mammoth used. So it's like you guys lack so much creativity that you had to steal the nickname and steal the fancy social media hashtag. But the problem is, John, all their finalist names all had Denver connections. They couldn't come up with anything interesting at all. So Mammoth, we would have been mad if they had been the Yeti too. So I'm not saying this is a rivalry quite yet, but there's already a little bit of bad blood, if you will.
Yeah, we got reason to want to beat them. So Will, the Avs go out first game the other night, really take it to a quality team in the Kings, specifically in that second period. But we know the Avs can be good in the regular season. Did you see anything the other night that makes you believe postseason Avalanche, and it's only been one game, but postseason Avalanche might be different this year?
Yeah, I mean, listen, McKinnon and McCarr were absolutely flying around. I mean, that first goal was largely Nathan McKinnon, just an unbelievable play. I know Marty Necas had a nice wrister to finish it, and then the third goal, Cale Makar doesn't skate, John. He dances. I mean, he danced right past the Kings defender, and Arturi Lehkonen was there to clean up the trash. So I think we just have to remind ourselves of, yes, despite the postseason failures over the last 3 years, they still have two of the top 3, top 5 best players on earth. And also, I will tell you this, there's just no drama around this hockey team this year. I mean, think about the season open storylines the last few years. Is Val Nichushkin going to be there? Is he not? How's Gabe Landeskog doing? Are we ever going to see Gabe again? Is he going to play again? I mean, those are 2 top 6 guys that are just fine right now. I know Gabe didn't play much in the third period the other night, but they were up big, and I understand why Jared Bednar did what he did. But I'm sitting here in Ball Arena right now and just walking in. There's a buzz, don't get me wrong, but there's not that overwhelming, massive storyline that's hanging over this team. It really is the most relaxed I have felt the guys and felt management and the head coach since they won the Cup. Now, that doesn't guarantee we're having another parade or anything like that, but just to be here all these years after the parade in 2022 and feel settled and relaxed and not everyone on edge because there's some big thing hanging over the franchise or some cloud, that's been huge. And I think they're going to play more relaxed. I think they did it in game 1 against the Kings, and I fully expect them to do it game 2 tonight against Utah.
Hey, Will, Dante here. So if there is one thing that could be a little dramatic or could be hanging over the team this year, it would be that Necas contract extension. Do you see that playing out where he plays the whole season under this deal, or do you think they get it done during the season at one point?
Yeah, it's crazy, especially with the spending spree we've seen in the NHL here in just the last few weeks. Started with Kaprizov up in Minnesota getting an absurd $17 million a year. I have no idea what the Wild are doing. I'm sure other GMs around the league rolled their eyes at that deal. And then you see McDavid taking the ultra team friendly 12.5, 2 years with the Oilers. And then, a guy like Jack Eichel gets done out in Vegas as well. Kyle Connor's up there with Winnipeg. So I think if you're the Avalanche, the sooner he puts pen to paper, the better. And I've said it on air multiple times that, New Year's Eve is kind of my deadline. Like when the calendar flips to 2026, Necas better be under contract with the Avalanche for a long, long time. But guys, based on what's going on around the league, I'm kind of moving that up of like, let's just get it done now. And by now, I mean like literally, let's get it done tomorrow. Let's get it done this weekend. Let's get it done next week. Let's not drag our feet, particularly a guy that had 2 goals in the opener. I mean, I'm sure if you ask Chris McFarland off the record, he's thrilled that Marty Necas got 2 goals because he wants the Avs to win, but he probably would have preferred it was Brock Nelson with 2 goals in game 1, the guy he just paid, because every time Marty tickles the twine, the price is just going to go up and up and up. I think there needs to be a real sense of urgency here, and I think they need to learn their lessons from everything that went wrong with Mikko Rantanen and make sure we don't go part 2 on that, because I am starting to feel a little deja vu here.
Yeah, Will, that is something to watch, and it is. I think McFarland might want Necas to do good just so that Rantanen trade doesn't continue to look bad for him after the playoffs last year. But with that, Will, one thing about the Avalanche, and you can call it a collapse, disappointment, whatever happened with Dallas last year in that series, I think there's a few things that played into that I don't think can happen again that we'll see throughout this year. For one, the whole team got new the last quarter of the season, second half of the season with Marty, with Brock Nelson, and a bunch of others. But I think what people often forget is they didn't play their guys like the last 5 to 10 games of the year because the playoffs was completely locked up. So they really didn't establish a lot of chemistry amongst that team. I think that's what showed up in the Dallas series more than anything. With that, do you think this team's they just need to play together, and that might be the one thing that gets them further in the playoffs this year?
Oh, absolutely. And I asked Chris McFarland about that on Monday. I said, hey, are you relieved that you don't have to make 8-9 trades this year and that this is going to be the core that you're pursuing the cup with? And he gave me sort of a non-answer. Well, it's hockey and injuries happen and things happen and I may have to make moves, but I understand why he said that in a press conference type setting. I'm sure if you talk to him, he knows that this is the blueprint that he has designed. It's the ingredients that he's given the team to cook with, and they got to go out there and make a 5-star meal. And quite frankly, his hands are kind of tied. Like, he's not going to do something splashy or major at this point as the Avalanche's GM. He thinks this core, the pieces he's put around it, are good enough to win a cup. And I'm with you, John. Like, 82 games, well, it may not be 82, but let's call it 70 games of Nelson, Nichushkin, and Landeskog. That could be the most deadly second line in the league, right? Necas, I think he sort of came in last year and McKinnon was barking at him because that's what McKinnon does. He's so darn intense, and I think that caught him a little off guard. He hadn't played like that with anyone in Carolina, but now that they've spent a summer together, I give Marty Necas a lot of credit. He admitted at Media Day a few weeks ago that he was, quote, shocked by the trade. It was one of the biggest trades in the NHL in the last 20 years, so I understand why he was shocked and needed a little bit of time to wrap his mind around it. But now that I think he's had a summer here, he understands the expectation of playing with Nathan McKinnon. And, oh, by the way, when you get 2 goals in the first game and you're staring perhaps your first 100-point season in the NHL in the face, who wouldn't want to play with Nathan McKinnon? Because guess what that means? More money when you get the McKinnon bump being on a line with him night in and night out.
Will, so you just were talking about Landeskog there and all the trades that we saw last year. Landeskog obviously was not a trade, but might as well have been, with the addition that the Avalanche got in the playoffs there. We saw him play, not a whole lot of minutes in that first game against the Kings. Do you expect that to continue into tonight? How do you expect them to kind of load manage him throughout the season?
Yeah, well, it's fascinating. First of all, I'm really glad Gabe was on the ice this morning here at Ball Arena. Not because anyone feared he wouldn't be, but just he did have that nasty collision at the blue line. He only took a couple shifts in the third period, and you just were like, okay, let's make sure Gabe's out there this morning, and he was, and he's gonna play tonight as they take the ice here in about 20 minutes. And I'll just be fascinated, Dante, to see what it looks like when they're tied 3-3 in the third period, because that could happen tonight. That could happen this weekend against Dallas. It's going to be here very soon. Is he going to take his normal ice time when that is the case? When you're up 4-0 in L.A., I get why Jared Bednar is not pushing the pedal to the metal with Gabe out on the ice, but when you're trying to get a valuable 2 points in a tie game in the third period, yeah, my antenna will go up a little bit if he's not out there with Nichushkin and Nelson every single shift. So, yeah, I'll be watching it tonight. I'm hoping for another blowout, but if it's close, I think it's very fair to monitor Landeskog's ice time as this game goes on.
And Will, we know obviously the dudes were out the other night. Cale, McKinnon, Marty, and Lehkonen, who just continues to be one of the most clutch players we've ever seen in Colorado in any sport. But, Gavin Brindley is a guy that kind of popped to me. In addition to him, who are some guys newer to the team that the fans should kind of be watching that you think can contribute to the Avs' success this season?
Yeah, I mean, Brindley for sure, right? He's the guy that came over in the Miles Wood, Charlie Coyle trade, second-round pick out of Michigan just a couple of years ago. He's huge for the Wolverines when they made runs in the NCAA tournament. So I'll watch him, but also Victor Olofsson and Brent Burns, right? I mean, those were their two big free agent signings, and Olofsson, yeah, he's going to be a third, fourth-line guy, not the sexiest position in the world, but the odds are hoping he can get them 10 to 12 goals this year and sort of chew up some ice time. That's what those third and fourth liners do. And then Burns, this is a guy who doesn't have a cup, and he's past 40. I mean, he's played something like 900 games in a row. It's ridiculous how much hockey this guy's played without chasing the ultimate prize. And I think Brent Burns, you saw him on the second unit of the power play out there in LA the other night. Like, this wasn't a, nostalgic, feel good, let's give him one last chance at a ring kind of signing. This was a, dude, we need you. You got to go out there and eat 20 minutes for us. They lost Ryan Lindgren in free agency, and, Brent Burns isn't just some sort of throw-in. So along with your guy Brindley, I would watch Olofsson and Burns as well.
All right, last little thing for me here, Will. I just want to let you and John Davis know that you guys have no right to be mad about Utah stealing anything from the Colorado sports teams.
Okay.
I mean, I grew up with the Mammoth, Dante. Right here at Ball Arena, the indoor lacrosse, they play on carpet. It's an unbelievable crowd. It's great. It's fun. It's nuts, quite frankly, because they're playing hockey on turf with tennis shoes in indoor lacrosse. It's an absolutely wild game to watch. And I think Mammoth fans driving down the road right now may not be real thrilled with that comment.
I don't care. I think there's a lot worse than stealing a name. You could steal the whole team, hypothetically, I guess.
Hypothetically, yeah. Dante wants the Avs to win 50-0 tonight. But Will, give me. It's hard to predict a game this early in the season, but let's have fun. What do you got tonight?
I think the Avalanche are going to win 6-2 tonight. I think Scott Wedgwood will look pretty good in the back of the net. This place, even as we get closer to puck drop, you can just feel the intensity in the air. Crowd's going to be electric. They got a bad taste in their mouth, guys. I mean, 160 days ago, what happened in the third period in Dallas was just heartbreaking and quite frankly inexcusable to blow a 2-0 lead like they did. This is the first time Avs fans have got to see the team in person in a regular season game since that absolutely wild Game 6 that they took to send it back to Dallas for a Game 7. So I think boys come out buzzing and give me Colorado 6-2 this evening in what turns into their second laugher in as many games.
And sorry, Will, just one quick one. Is Mackenzie Blackwood expected back this weekend, as far as you know?
I don't know about this weekend, John, but I will tell you this. I saw him in the locker room on Monday, and, he looked fine.
Okay.
Put it this way. The guy wasn't on crutches or grabbing anything like that. I know, you're not really supposed to report that, but he was just a guy walking around the locker room. So I'm not fearful that we're not going to see Mackenzie Blackwood until January or anything like that. They're so secretive in nature that I can't give you an exact timeline, but let's just say with what I saw with my own two eyes, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Blackwood out there by the end of this month.
Awesome, Will. Thanks a lot for joining us. Looking to hear what you got post-game about the Avalanche.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Dante. We'll talk to you soon.
That was Scrappy Will Peterson on the Johnson Auto Plaza hotline down there at Ball Arena, getting ready for the Avalanche and Mammoth, dropping the puck later. The Colorado Buffaloes play Iowa State this weekend. Big game. Dante loves college football. We'll get into that next.
Are the Avalanche once again in a familiar situation with a crucial top 6 player?
I hate that this Netchus thing is going into the season. I hate it. I hate it so much because if he starts fast, and I expect he's going to, then you're in the same situation as the Mikko thing last year.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey, it's Mike Evans with Advanced Tax Solutions and one of their great clients who found themselves in an issue with the IRS. Saul, tell us what you owed the IRS.
I owed the IRS $68,000 for back taxes.
Wow, $68,000. I got to ask you, Saul, what kind of emotions were you feeling when you heard that was the amount?
I felt nervous, and then you feel fear. You don't really know what they're going to do, take, or anything else. It's scary.
So you ended up owing $68,000. How much did you end up owing after working with Todd and Advanced Tax Solutions?
$100.
$100? What were you feeling when you heard that?
Happy, stunned, and then I left work to go celebrate.
Wow, that's an amazing story. but not surprising. We hear a lot of success stories with Advanced Tax Solutions. If you find yourself having a problem with payroll, taxes, or the IRS, don't fight the fight yourself. Reach out to Todd Whalen and Advanced Tax Solutions. Give them a call, 303-753-6040.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
Her face lights up whenever you're around.
That's why the diamond you give her can't be like any other.
At Williams Jewelers, exceptional brilliance is in our DNA. I'm Bruce Williams.
And I'm Steve Williams. We grew up in the diamond business.
And as direct diamond importers, we personally hand select every diamond.
Going through hundreds at a time, looking for what really matters. Life.
Like people, no two diamonds are the same.
Some just sit there. And then there are those rare gems that explode with fire and brilliance.
A diamond that shines like no other.
And surprisingly, it's rarely about price. No one sells a more beautiful diamond for less. That's the Williams Diamond Guarantee.
So if you found the woman who loves like no other,
give her the diamond that shines like no other from Williams Jewelers.
Where Colorado shines.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
The official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche. Williams Jewelers, where Colorado shines.
When I was in Iraq, our convoy was hit. It was bad. After I came home, I could still hear booms and see tracer fire. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
With help from DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Today, I'm part of DAV. We're veterans helping veterans to get the benefits they've earned. And I give my veterans my all.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Naomi Mathis, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
You have personal and private wishes. You've revealed that, quite simply, you want peace in your life. My name is Glenn Jameron. I'm president of Alpine Bank, member FDIC. A very wise old man told us how to bring peace into your life. First, fill yourself with caring, for yourself, for others. Second, do no harm, to yourself, to others. And third, tame your mind, which means stop speculating about what might happen someday. The peace you seek comes from living in the present. It starts in your own home, your own life. You're committed to peace. I realize that Alpine Bank visits with you on a very personal level. I realize that can feel somewhat startling, but it's what friends do. It's a commitment. Alpine Bank, committed to Colorado and you.
Stay up to date on the Broncos and the latest news from around the league with our NFL insider James Palmer, exclusively on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Mondays on The Rundown with Richie Carney, Tuesday afternoons on The Drive, and Friday mornings on Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, all season long. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. Denver Sports.
break. But we're going to get to your other love, college football. The Colorado Buffaloes this week, you've been pretty accurate with how you've kind of depicted the Buffs. I don't know if the win-loss has landed the way you felt it would, but the quality of the team, I think I think you were pretty I think you got that pretty good. But overall, they've got a big game again this weekend. Really peculiar ways they've been losing games. It's very odd to get up 14-0 against quality opponents back-to-back, and then they just slowly chip away. The way it's felt for me watching CU is if you watch a fight, a boxing match or a UFC fight, and this big, powerful guy comes out, throws his heavy punches early on, the opponent survives the knockout, and then just kind of slowly takes over the fight and ends up winning in the end. Between BYU and TCU, they both just kind of stayed steady, let CU kind of do whatever it does up top, and then slowly take over and ultimately win the game. Do you see this to be the pattern for the Buffs, or is this more like, hey, we're close and we've just got to get it there, and this is something we could see turned around this weekend?
So I don't know if it's a matter of like we're close or not. To me, it's more just like matchup dependent. And they impressed me against BYU because BYU is a big physical team, and CU was able to match that. TCU is a little bit more of the high-flying offense. They can get you, throwing the ball deep with that quarterback. Josh Hoover has looked really good this season. So to me, it's more matchup dependent. And when we're talking about the matchup coming up this weekend, I think it's very gettable for CU. I think if they come out with that same kind of tenacity and like look them eye to eye kind of thing, where it's like, hey, we're not going to let you push us around. I think this weekend's very gettable for CU.
Well, they've got stuff to build off of too. They haven't been getting blown out in these games. They've just kind of fallen apart. What's been troubling for me about the Buffs, which is something that I really liked about them last year, which was last year, I think a lot of the reason people think they won games is because the game would start, and I don't think the opposing defense realized how fast they were. And you can't adjust to speed mid-game. Like, if the team's faster, there's just not a lot you can do about it. What I liked last year, and it started in the Nebraska game, which is the game that they got blown out, so everybody kind of overlooked it. Robert Livingston would make really good halftime adjustments defensively to who they were playing. And they were almost coming a little too late in a lot of cases, but they were there. That seems to have gone away. And as the game's going on now, his defense seems to be getting figured out, and the adapting and the adjusting is not happening like we saw last year. That's why he was a hot name last year, just kind of in college. Everybody's like, what a hire by Dion. And with Robert Livingston's defense, I think this year, what's disappointing is me, the adjustments. Now, I'll pull back and say it's probably easier to make adjustments when you have the best cornerback in all of college football playing back there. And I wonder if the loss of Travis Hunter on the defensive side of the ball, maybe we're not looking at how much that really affected what Robert Livingston likes to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Livingston's great at making adjustments. I don't think that just went out the window. I just don't think he has quite the personnel to make the adjustments he would like to. So I think that's part of the reason why you're seeing it this season versus last season. Just the personnel was better. They had his name's escaping me right now. They had a great player on the defensive line last year too.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah. College players are out.
McKinney
might have been
last name McKinney. Maybe I can't remember.
He
exactly.
would blow it up. He would kind of blow up the play. Like, he was very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was transferred from Arizona State. I should definitely remember. His
name,
yeah.
You probably know everything about it. Yeah. How do you not? You probably have his phone number.
I don't have his phone number. But I should definitely remember his name. Regardless, though, I think the personnel last year was just a little bit better than we're seeing this year defensively. We also haven't seen them play kind of those mediocre teams as much, or at least to this point.
It's been chunked kind of weird.
Yeah, I think the quality Houston of opponent fits that mediocre brand, but on the road, and they just got out to such a slow start that game that it was just very difficult for them to come back. But I think BYU's an upper echelon Big 12 team. I think TCU's an upper echelon Big 12 team too. So I think once you get closer to like the Arizonas and like the West Virginias and the Kansas States, I think that's when CU's adjustments will kind of pop off the screen a little more.
Yeah, I'm not as frustrated with the Buffs. This is they're better than I thought they'd be. I thought you lose the caliber of players they did. You bring in all these new guys. Everybody talks about the identity, how Dion doesn't lean into that. And I know Dion catches a lot of criticism, but when there's no preseason and everybody's new, I don't think you know your identity. I think it's kind of weird to try to dictate that right away, like this is what we do, before you figure out this is actually what we do.
I think that's fair, but I also don't think they've really found the identity within those first 5 games still.
That's the problem.
I think before the year, you're absolutely able to say, like, hey, we don't know what it's going to be yet. But, at this point in the season, you should know what your identity is. We don't quite see it. But I think there's a good chance they pick up a win against Iowa State. I don't think Iowa State's crazy good. I think they did lose a lot of production from their wide receivers last year. Quarterback's back, but what's a quarterback without offensive weapons? So I think this is a very gettable game at home for CU.
Yeah, I'd like to see him do it. I think it'd be a big win and make it exciting. Dante, I should have acknowledged it off the top. I am so sorry the Utah Mammoth are in town tonight. They used to be the Phoenix Coyotes. So go Avs. If you're gonna win one, win this one for Dante.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. Win it for Dante. That's what I think the message needs to be in the locker room.
Win it for Dante. It was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun tonight. This is Denver Sports Tonight.
Has the Broncos hype train picked up speed after the win in Philadelphia?
You got Sean Payton. You got freaking Bo Nix, guys. Get on board or get left behind. Those are the only two options. Get on board or get left behind.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Heads up, pros. Now's your chance to unlock deeper savings. The Home Depot's new Pro Extra Preferred pricing can help you save thousands on the products your business uses the most. But the current benefit ends November 15th. Don't miss out. Registration for the new program is free and easy. Just bring your tax ID or business or contractor's license to the Pro Desk. Register now to lock in the best wholesale prices before it's too late.
Halloween's here. Costumes, candy, and maybe a few scares. But nothing scarier than being ghosted by your insurance company after an accident. At Postman Law, we've delivered over $3 billion to our clients, and we make it simple. Speed, ease, results. With free case evaluations and no fee unless we win, you're never left in the dark. Call 844-POSTMAN or visit postmanlaw.com. Others promise. Postman delivers. This is attorney advertising.
Hey guys, your boy Steve here today about my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now might be the time to sell, still get top dollar. Believe it or not, my guy Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, if you can't sell your house at your price on your timeline that you agree upon beforehand, bam, going to cut you a check for $5,000. Who else makes the offer? Nobody I've ever heard of. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and